2.
It's the Fake Safety Podcast with Vance and Bart.
It's a trap, and there's no comfort fitting in a fake safety that no one believes in.
We are live. Do you feel protected?
By me? Slightly.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question that sounds like it's kind of one of those sexy questions, but it's actually coming from the government, which is, what are you wearing?
Ooh.
I hope it's not body armor.
It isn't. It isn't. There's some talk about that may become illegal. So
kind of like lingerie.
Yeah. I'd hate to wear something that could be considered illegal.
Well, because you can kill people with it. Wait.
Yeah.
We're talking about guns, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's dangerous, right?
Yes.
Yes. It would be dangerous to wear something that may stop a bullet. Huh.
Okay.
I'm losing
It checks out.
I was with them, and now I'm...
Well, criminals.
Maybe a criminal won't die.
Who's shooting the criminal? So everybody, let's talk through this.
That would be a government employee, right? Oh, shit. There's a reason why body armor should be illegal. And let's figure out what that is.
Yep. That is our mission and your mission for the folks at home. So body armor, I think it's 49 states, right? You can purchase online, and then you have to be, is it Connecticut, I believe?
Does it come in discreet packaging?
Yeah. Is it, who works harder at discrete packaging? Is it the arms dealers or the adult companies?
I was like, oh, is this my purple dildo or my body armor? I don't know. It's like Christmas.
It's a surprise in every box.
Right.
So let's maybe follow this down, and I think it would be worth our time to think about why someone might want body armor to be illegal. So in the language around some of these bills that have been put forward, they specify the exceptions, which I think are the obvious ones that they typically put in there, right? They talk about anyone who's an employee of the state, so federal employees or state employees or anything that the federal government or state governments have allotted. And then they talk about law enforcement, right? A law enforcement official or or even like a correctional officer, right? Anyone who's basically within that Leo world. And those are all the exemptions, right? But the people that they're targeting are criminals, right? But we talked about this a good bit when we were talking about cops and pulling people over for things and creating these laws so that you can make criminals out of people doing something else, right? Mm-hmm. And even in the current language, so I have seen the current language around a lot of body armor, and it's pretty interesting in that in a lot of places it is illegal to be wearing body armor while committing a crime?
Oh, shit. Man, because I was going to defend it that way. Fuck. Is the crime that they're committing a crime?
On paper, I suppose it would have to be, right?
Right. Fuck.
Is it to
So-
us arguable?
So they're already a criminal, but now their body armor is illegal. So they're like, oh, fuck, man. Like, I was willing to do the time for the bank robbery.
Right.
But that fucking body armor charge too. Nah, the state talked me out of it, man. Instead, I'm going to be a school teacher and help people for the rest of my life.
Oh,
Thank God for that body armor,
wait. Just a second.
No.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. One note is inside of a school, you can't wear body armor.
Oh, and another side note, school teachers don't help people. Fuck. All right, so let's think about this. There was that one shootout that we all like to watch on every crime reality show where the guys robbed the bank and then came outside, did a shootout with the cops and died wearing
Suicide by cop.
Yeah, and they were wearing like the biggest, baddest body armor. Like it was like fucking like a bomb suit type shit, and they died by what at that time they considered underarmed officers, and that's what one of the things they used to allow officers to carry AR-15s and armor-piercing type rifles and whatnot was that particular incident, right? So if that happened again, they would use those weapons, and a lot of them would have them, and they would be able to take down somebody wearing a fucking bomb suit style body armor, not just a regular flak jacket. So, and we all know that every fucking patrol officer now has a goddamn AR in their goddamn car and looks like a fucking SWAT team member when they go out to fucking patrol nowadays. If you have a neighbor that's a cop, just look at him when he goes out. He's wearing fucking military gear, trying to be all badass when he walks to his car. So,
well, let's diverge here then for a moment. Let me take that and pick it a bit, because if we are to assume that law enforcement is infallible and will always be operating in the best interest of the public and the
that's
public's
right. My
safety,
Christian upbringing tells me so.
let's follow them. So if you were to be following that school of thought, then you would, of course, be in favor of those defenders of freedom upping their game in terms of what they have to rally against, right? So if they are continually up against the forces of evil and the forces of evil have up-leveled their body armor game, then of course the freedom fighters would want to have more powerful weapons, right?
Mm-hmm. So this incident, didn't it happen in California? Pretty sure it did from my little clicky-click Google research. Anyway.
That's what the computer says.
And then let's just take, let's put them in Anarchotopia, right?
Yep.
Somebody walks into a bank with a gun on them, a high-powered gun on them, a duffel bag, and a fucking bomb suit. What happens in Anarchotopia? Well, those people know that it's their job to protect them and their patrons. It's what they're paid to do as a bank. These people keep their money there. They're well paid to do so. Shut it down. Boom. Boom. Get in, bitch. Like, you got your body armor on. I'm not going to kill you, but you can't get the fuck in. Right? But in what we have today, it's like, oh, the cops will protect us, right? So, you know, they're like, oh, it's if somebody steals our patrons' money, it's cops' fault, right? So they're not really into protecting it because it's cops' job, right?
Right.
So now the cops have a shootout and big dramatic blah 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 blah, and then the guys get killed. Oh, well, they kill themselves, but they die, right?
Well, of course. I mean, I would kill myself too if I knew that I was going to get a body armor charge tacked onto what I had just done.
Right, of course. So, so here I was thinking this incident was going to justify body armor. Fuck. But it didn't. You know, body armor should be illegal. That should have justified that. But it didn't do that at all. I mean, it was a big reason why the government armed up. So I'm seeing a trend here. So every time something happens bad in the world, maybe created by government, maybe these people are poor because their business or whatever was monopolized by government. The employees they needed, whatever, right? And they just got desperate, right? But every time the government comes out on top, they get more power over us. So somebody who did something bad wears body armor. Let's make that illegal. Not the Abercrombie and Fitch jeans he was wearing, right? Because that didn't affect the government's ability to do their job, right?
Right. They police him the same regardless of the brand of denim.
Right. And it's not even that person. It's all of us, right? If we all wear Abercrombie and Fitch, it doesn't make the government's job harder to make us do what they want us to do. So the fact he was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch doesn't matter. The fact that he had braces when he was 14, did this do anything to his psyche? Whatever, right? They're not thinking about that, right? I'm not saying the braces would ever do anything, but I'm saying like the ridiculousness is there, right? They're not worried about that. The thing that they're focusing on is the body armor. And what does the making body armor illegal do? It makes you, the guy who's got a flak jacket, right? Who has guns, who could protect himself over a tyrannical government. Not that necessarily would, but could. Less able to do so. Now, without the body armor, if he gets rid of that and then later on he decides, I am going to protect myself against the government, well, he's less able to do so, right? That's what it does. Guns aren't about hunting. Guns are about keeping a tyrannical government scared of the people, making your, if you believe in democracy, making your vote count. That's what a gun does. They don't have to listen to your fucking vote. But if they're scared, they just might listen to it this time. Right? So making the government less scared of the people is what this seems to be about to me. Because I can't shoot anybody with my vest. It's not a offensive weapon, but it is a very good defensive weapon.
It is an interesting line in the sand in a different way than firearms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I could pretty easily take the position of gun control and ridding the world of guns and things, because for those people who exist in the first world, it's really easy to lose sight of usage for guns beyond shooting other people, right? For other parts of the globe, or honestly even other parts of this country that some of those folks are not privy to, they don't see that, but it can be really easy to lose sight of that because you say, oh, well, guns are made to shoot things and they are an offensive weapon. So the fewer there are in the world, the less violence, right? But I do find it interesting when we think about a defense mechanism. So body armor or anything classified as such, if it exists merely to defend from those very things, I fail to understand why the world would be safer with fewer of those in it. Let's remove law enforcement, right? Let's say that the government does not exist. Let's say that law enforcement does not exist. Mm-hmm. Is the world safer with fewer pieces of body armor in it?
Absolutely not. I mean, if we make an offensive weapon illegal, or even if we don't, a defensive product being more readily available to a person with legal means, and not only legal means to procure, but something to protect, right? So he has bought, or he or she has bought property, right? He or she has put blood, sweat, tears into said whatever to ensure he or she's future and offspring's future. There's going to be a higher, on a completely innocent point level, there's going to be a higher value upon protecting said assets, right? So right then and there, you found the most productive people in said society, and they need to protect that, because for them to be productive means that they are providing some sort of good service resource that is beneficial to said neighbors, right? So everybody is richer because they're doing what they're doing, right? So for them to protect that should be foremost on the front line of anybody who is in the direct financial connection to this person, right? So you would want them to have body armor, offensive weapons that are can be used for offense, but be used for defense, right? So there's a financial benefit. Therefore, more money will be allocated, more resources. I hate to use money because people get fucked up when they think about money in economics, where because money is arbitrary in today's society, right? Like your dollar as money, right? But resources. So the amount of, I like for people when I'm talking to think about, when I'm talking about money or resources or whatever, think about the time that you're at work for the output of production that you're doing, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? So, you know, the time that said person's at work to the amount of benefit that his family gets, right? If that is better, if this person feels protected or is protected, a lot's more allocation towards body armor, offensive weapons, whatever, right? And then throw the government into the mix, and geez, like it becomes a mess because there's situations the government can manipulate people into attacking a person who helps them. They just don't know it. There's even more of a reason to have weapons, to make the government scared. Not to use them, but to make them scared. Body armor, to make them know that they can't just come in with the weakest weapon they have in their arsenal, a 9mm, and out you like they did that poor woman who was sleeping in Kentucky. Right? Not that you would sleep in your body armor, but some people might. You know, people are fucking scared of cops. I'm scared of cops. If cops are around, my son goes as far away from the situation as possible. Because I know that if something happened to my kid because of the cop, that I couldn't control myself. And not that I should control myself, but fuck that guy, right? You shouldn't do that shit. You shouldn't hurt people for any state. But, sorry, sidetrack. Yeah, fuck you, neighbor.
Well, let me give you a premise.
I got a SWAT neighbor, by the way.
SWAT neighbor.
Yeah. He's even got a German Shepherd. Like a retired police dog. I don't even like the dog.
That's not really trying to shake the stereotype, eh?
Is it?
It doesn't sound like it. So
Hmm.
let me give you a premise, and I would encourage you and our massive listener base to think about this in the sense that we try to make things illegal because we don't want people to have access to them, right? We want it to be more difficult for people to access them. So going back to the same bank,
Mm-hmm.
right, and the same person trying to rob it, is it not in our best interest as a society? Let's say if we outlaw body armor,
Mm-hmm.
then makes that bank robber have a harder time accessing it and may not be able to acquire it. Does that not in turn make the bank's job to defend themselves easier?
I would say no. Because a bank robber is there to rob a bank. Their job is to rob the bank. They're going to acquire whatever illegal assets they need to make the job done. What that does, it impedes the patron of the bank, the everyday person in the bank, to have a method of protecting said self. So the guy who has never broke a law, who maybe you guys, you everyday person would think he's crazy if he wears a flak jacket in there, right? He doesn't have that opportunity, and not to mention the effect that it has on development of personal, not military, personal defense systems. Because if your everyday person is allowed to wear protective body armor, not protective body armor that has to be certified by the state, but I'm talking like people certify their own body armor. Like they believe that, independent company X, I love everyday body armor company, right? It says that this body armor is good for said round or whatever, right? Then there's all kinds of development technology that can come about where I believe we've talked about homes before. Like, who knows what it could be? It could be like we've anybody who knows military shit, the dragon armor, right? Things like that. It was too expensive, but did a really good job. Things like that can be advanced. They're not waiting on a government contract. They're like fuck it. It doesn't have to be certified. It can just be like, this company can test it and say, yeah, that's some good shit. And people who want to invest in it by buying it can do so. And then development can progress. And I might wear a suit that instead of like the shiny shit in the middle, like maybe it does have some fucking weird shit that can't stop a fucking AR-15 round, 223, but maybe it stops a 9mm. Maybe I buy an Armani jacket that has that shit in it, right? Because I think that it will help me and my family, whether it does or not. It doesn't fucking matter, right? Like I felt like that my time working was worth that, right? I don't see how that's bad, right? Everybody, the guy with the fucking bubble suit on going in the bank, like he's going to still be going in the bank with a bubble suit on if the bubble suit's illegal.
Now, let me add a bit of practicality to that, though, right? So everything has a cost. Every acquisition has a cost. Every service, every resource, there is a cost. So the ability for someone to acquire that bubble suit would be different in a world where it's legal than in a world where it's illegal, right? Can we at least agree on that?
I believe you would be correct.
Okay.
But I believe in a world that it was legal, it would not have the same. Well, I know. In a world that it was legal, you would not have the same advantage. Your advantage would be considerably less.
But then would that not just raise what the equivalent of like a noise floor would be on violence? Would that then just escalate everyone to a further level, to some unending escalation until we get to thermonuclear war?
Well, I would like to go ahead. I was going to use this later, but I would like to tell you. All right. So Kim Jong-un, right? Let's go all the way to North Korea.
Let's do it.
They've developed a nuclear weapon, a very primitive, shitty rocket system, but it can reach, and he likes to show it off how far it can reach, right? Gaddafi was on the same level, but was more in tune with capitalism and making America happy to not get overthrown. He didn't develop a nuclear weapon. I'm not promoting nuclear weapons because nuclear weapons typically are so costly. They have to put a percentage of a population into poverty to afford to use them. You know me, I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in a government, but it works the same. Like, I'm taking it all the way to nuclear. They developed a nuclear weapon. Gaddafi got raped in the ass by a Rambo style knife and his intestines pulled out his asshole. He was way more freedom oriented, right? And Hillary Clinton laughed on national TV about his asshole being pulled out with a fucking Rambo style knife. Laughed about it. Kim Jong-un, he's still living it up.
Isn't that precisely because they have different levels of what we consider legal?
No, it's because the U.S. government said, the most powerful government in the world, said, no, you can't have nuclear weapons. One person listened that they didn't like that much and got his asshole pulled out. The other person did not listen, developed something that they were scared of, and it was okay. I'm not telling you that he's a good person. I'm telling you that, are you a good person? I'm asking you as a listener, are you a good person? Do you take away from other people to provide for your family? Or do you provide something for other people to provide for your family? You need to figure that out and work that out on yourself. But the premise still stands. Like, you have to be able to protect yourself as a good person, because the bad people will always protect themselves. So, the bad person will always have the fucking nuclear weapon, right? If he can get it, he's gonna get it, right? I'm not saying Gaddafi was a good person. I just think he played his cards wrong, right? And I think he was a better person than Kim Jong-un, but I don't think he was a good person at all. I just think he played his cards wrong.
I'm really bummed that we're not going to get syndicated in Korea now.
Oh, I know. Fuck. I was going to move there. I'm sure they'll still let me in.
We might just delist this episode.
I'll just be like, my bad, dude. He'll be cool with it.
He is pretty chill like that.
Yeah. But I would say he played the better move, you know? And you got to think about your life. Are you doing good for other people? If you're not, then you got to live with that. All right? If you are doing good for other people, how are you going to stop people from taking what you have? Or taking your ability to, promote freedom across the world, or what? I'm sorry, the government, U.S., anything, no government is going to help you with that. They're only going to take that away from you. You need body armor. You need every weapon that you can possibly get in your arsenal. You need to fucking scare them. If there's a goddamn militia that's willing to back you, get them on your side. They're always going to demonize militias. Anytime there's a militia, they're going to demonize them. Don't fall for that bullshit on the news. They're not bad people. They're people with guns who are scared of the government, and they damn sure should be. Because the government is different than you. You're a person. The government is different. The people at the top are trying to stay at the top. If you're at the bottom, they're trying to keep you at the bottom and milk you. You're a fucking battery. Don't hurt people with a gun, but have a gun. Learn to use it. Protect yourself. The cops aren't going to do it. They're not going to help your kid. They're not going to help you. In fact, if they get called to your house, you're a whole lot more likely to die. Even if you're on the good. Keep them the fuck away from your... I mean, everybody's like, oh, if you have a gun in your house, you're so much more likely to die from a bullet, right? Everybody likes to tell me that, right?
If you have a piano in your house, you're far more likely to die of a piano crashing on you.
They do not take into consideration suicides, which are hugely dependent on how involved the government is in daily life is to most countries' suicide rate. So nobody wants to do a fucking study on that and put it out in the mainstream news. And people have done it, but they right. And then nobody likes to take into consideration how tyrannical a police department is, to where if you have a gun, they're like, "Oh, shoot him," and then we'll just say he was trying to shoot us. So have a gun. Be smart about it. Don't fucking threaten the police when you got it in on your, because you don't want to get shot. You want to keep your family safe. Body armor, extremely important for your family to have. I think body armor, home armor, and to the extent that tile, your typical fucking porcelain tile, right? Put it on a board, something, right? And then have a sheet of that somewhere, because you can break up armor-piercing rounds with tile. Put it anywhere in your garage, right? And just fucking concrete mortared to a board, just in case. I mean, it's just a fucking thing, right? You got it there, have it,
So
because shit could get bad.
that brings me to a question that I think I'm afraid to go down a bit of a rabbit hole here, because I think we've come to a pretty good place from a pretty good conclusion here, and I think our listeners are probably benefiting from what you have to say. But I do want to be a little bit pedantic for a moment and just piggyback on what you're saying here about like a board with tile on it, and kind of think about the idea of what is body armor, right? What qualifies, and what could you make that would be classified as body armor, right? Like, what are these things?
Or more important, what could you make that would work as body armor that they would not classify as body armor? The most important question. And everybody think about that. So, go ahead. Sorry.
So let's say I have a material that's not Kevlar. It's not woven. It's not fabric. Let's say it is akin to tile,
Right.
but it takes the form of a vest or a jacket or some sort of a top that is meant to surround me as a human. Is that body armor?
It just depends, The government is so the people who make the laws do not know what they're doing. So, like I said, an assault rifle, you could just make a wood stock gun or make the gun look like it's wood stock, right? Like it could be, I don't know, carbon fiber, but then you put wood grain over it, sticker or whatever. Your average leftist would be like, "Oh, that's a normal gun, right?" And the firing mechanism's the same, right? The weight's the same, and that's what they would think. So, like, say they do make assault weapons. That's what I would do. I mean, if I was a gun company, that's what I would do. I would just make it look country, but perform the same, right? And be like, oh, hunting. But, hunting doesn't fucking matter. We're not sitting here hunting for our food today. What we're doing is protecting ourselves against a tyrannical government and making them know they should be scared of us in the sheer number of weapons that are out there. And body armor is the same way. They want you to die. They want you to die. Know that. The guy who has a gun that's legal, who's turned in all the illegal guns and whatnot, now they say body armor is illegal. That way, if anybody ever shoots at you, they make sure that you die. They want you to die because you are one more. You're another number in the amount of people that own firearms that are a threat to their power. You don't have to want power yourself to stop power from fucking with you. I'm perfect example of that. I would never impose my will on another person. I would never attack another person to gain anything for me or my family. But I would protect my life and my family's life with every ounce of ability that I have, and every dollar I didn't spend doing it, I would hate myself for not doing that. It would be a Waco to come to my house and try to hurt my kid.
Yeah, I mean, if you come after my kid, then I want to be the guy with the nuke, right?
Yeah. I just want to say, like, look, I got this. Back the fuck off. I want you to be a little bit scared because I don't want there to be violence. Isn't that funny, right? I'm the worst of the worst because I have guns and shit. But I have them because I want to say, look, dude, this shit's going to get fucking ugly. Let's just not do this. Let's Kim Jong-un it. I mean, fuck, dude. He should have got the Nobel Peace Prize, not fucking Obama. Obama killed plenty of people with predators and shit. Kim Jong-un developed a nuclear weapon to not go to war. I'm not saying that he's a good person. I'm just saying he killed less people right there. Like that, with that decision, starving people, he probably killed more. But like, just saying, like, he made a good decision. One good decision out of many bad ones. Think about that shit. Like, just because he's evil doesn't mean you can't learn from his good acts.
So let's ask the magic question. So the magic question of, if you could snap your fingers and do away with the nukes, we'll start at the top, right? We'll start at the top and then we'll work our way down to body armor. So we've gone up all the way to Kimmy J, as I like to call him.
Mm-hmm.
He did not play by the rules, but in a perfect world, we would have wanted everyone to disarm and there were no nukes, right? So in a perfect world, if you could snap your fingers and all nukes were gone, would that be a safer world?
No, not without the ability to develop nukes. Gone also.
So let's follow it all the way down. If you get rid of nukes and the ability to develop nukes, magically snap your fingers, they're gone. Is it a safer world?
No, not without the ability to make all pregnant women not able to give birth to babies that could potentially find the technology to develop nukes.
So if you snap your fingers and are able to get rid of all body armor, is that a safer world?
No. Just no. There's just nothing safer about not being able to, like, how I got shot, but I was wearing this body armor, or how I got shot and I wasn't wearing this body armor. That seems like a lot simpler question.
So ask that question.
Would you rather be shot wearing body armor or not wearing body armor?
It's a trap. There's no comfort.